Hello. How do you eat a chapati? Do you eat the whole of the chapati together or do you generally cut it into pieces before you have it? I bet if you are like most of us, you cut it into pieces and have it one bite at a time. Then why is it that when we teach, we just teach a huge amount of content and we just go on and on and on teaching? We never stop, we never take a pause, we never ask students whether we can go on. I realized this when one of my students asked me once, do you teachers think that we students are like just robots, that you just go on and on and on stuffing information inside us? And that's what gave me an idea. I realized that we need to learn how to chunk our syllabus. We need to decide what is the one bite that I'm going to teach for a while, and after that I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to let the students take a breather and maybe do an activity or maybe do some questions or maybe write the explanation in their notebooks before we go on and on. Chunking is very important because a human brain can only process a small piece of information at a time. It's also very, very important for students of special needs because they already have difficulties with information processing. And then, if you give them a gigantic amount of content to process at the same time, they get very frightened of maths. So, one way of chunking is chunking your content. Decide what is the bite size I want to give to the students before I let them take a pause. The other way of chunking is chunking your lesson. How much do I teach before I stop? Suppose I'm going to teach them fractions, then maybe I will start with fractions and its vocabulary, then I would pause, let them do one or two questions, then I would let them do fraction addition with same denominator, take a pause, then with different denominator, take a pause. And a pause is really a pause. That's the time I'm taking to understand how much have the students understood and do I need to go on and on or not. And the third and the last way of chunking, which is my favorite, is chunking your assessments. Most of us take an assessment at the end of the chapter. We take one big half an hour test and we call that assessment for the chapter. But we also need to take midway assessments, something that we call as continuous assessment. It can be for 1 minute, it can be for 2 minutes, it can be for 3 minutes maximum. But we need to have a small bite-sized assessments for the students, which helps them to understand how much they have understood, which helps us to understand how much they have understood. And the students who are not very good in maths, they do well in these smaller chunks. It builds their confidence. It's called baby step assessment. So these are the three ways of chunking. Chunk your content, chunk your lesson, chunk your assessments. Happy teaching.